The history of Swedish meatballs. Swedish meatballs, or köttbullar, are among the most iconic dishes associated with Swedish cuisine. Their journey from a royal influence to global fame is a fascinating story of cultural exchange and adaptation. While meatballs are enjoyed in various forms around the world, Swedish meatballs hold a special place due to their distinctive preparation and the role they play in Swedish culinary tradition. The practice of forming minced meat into balls and cooking them dates back to ancient times. Various cultures, from the Middle East to Europe, have their versions of this dish. In the Middle East, Köfte, spiced meatballs made from minced meat, has been a staple for centuries. In ancient Rome, a dish called Iciscia aumentata consisted of minced meat patties seasoned with spices, reminiscent of modern meatballs. As trade routes expanded during the Middle Ages, these culinary practices spread across Europe, influencing the development of different meatball recipes. The direct influence on Swedish meatballs likely comes from the Ottoman Empire. In the early 18th century, after his defeat at the Battle of Poltava in 1709, King Charles XII of Sweden took refuge in the Ottoman Empire, where he spent 5 years. During his time there, he and his entourage were exposed to Turkish culture, including its cuisine. One of the dishes that Charles XII encountered was köfte, small spiced meatballs made from ground meat mixed with spices and herbs. Upon returning to Sweden in 1715, Charles XII brought back various influences, including the recipe for what would eventually become Swedish meatballs. However, the process of integrating köfte into Swedish cuisine was gradual. Over time, the dish was adapted to fit Swedish tastes and the local ingredients available, giving rise to a new, distinctly Swedish version of meatballs. Throughout the 18th and 19th centuries, Swedish meatballs continued to evolve, eventually becoming a staple of Swedish cuisine. The recipe that emerged typically includes a mixture of ground beef and pork, combined with breadcrumbs soaked in milk and seasoned with salt, pepper, and sometimes allspice. This blend of beef and pork reflects the agricultural practices in Sweden, where both meats were commonly available. The use of breadcrumbs soaked in milk helps keep the meatballs tender and moist, a technique common in European meatball recipes. This method not only enhances the texture but also makes the meat stretch further, an important consideration when meat was a luxury. The meatballs are traditionally fried in butter, giving them a rich and flavorful crust, and are usually served with a creamy brown gravy, lingonberry sauce, and potatoes or egg noodles. The gradual evolution of Swedish meatballs mirrors broader trends in Swedish cuisine, which has always been shaped by its geography, agricultural practices, and interactions with other cultures. Sweden's location in Northern Europe, with its harsh climate, meant that its cuisine relied heavily on preservation methods like pickling, smoking, and curing. Swedish meatballs, with their use of preserved meats and simple ingredients, fit well within this culinary tradition. The rise of Swedish meatballs as a national dish is closely linked to the development of home economics in Sweden, particularly in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. As Sweden industrialized and urbanized, there was a growing emphasis on creating nutritious, economical meals that could be easily prepared at home. Swedish meatballs, with their simple preparation and affordable ingredients, became a popular choice for families. The promotion of Swedish meatballs as a symbol of Swedish culinary culture was also part of a broader nationalistic movement during this time. As Sweden sought to define its national identity, food played an important role in representing Swedish culture and values. Swedish meatballs, with their humble ingredients and comforting flavors, came to be seen as a quintessentially Swedish dish that embodied the ideals of simplicity, frugality, and hospitality. The standardization of Swedish meatball recipes was further promoted through the rise of cookbooks and home economics education, which helped cement the dish status in Swedish homes. By the mid-20th century, Swedish meatballs had become a staple of Swedish home cooking, synonymous with the country's culinary heritage. In the 20th century, Swedish meatballs gained international fame largely due to the global expansion of IKEA, the Swedish furniture retailer. Founded in 1943 by Ingvar Kamprad, IKEA not only revolutionized the way people shopped for furniture but also played a significant role in popularizing Swedish cuisine around the world. In the 1980s, IKEA began serving Swedish meatballs in its in-store restaurants, offering customers a taste of Swedish culture. This strategic move helped reinforce IKEA's brand identity as a company rooted in Swedish values and traditions. The meatballs, served with creamy gravy, lingonberry sauce, and potatoes, quickly became one of IKEA's most iconic offerings, beloved by customers around the world. Today, Swedish meatballs remain a beloved dish both in Sweden and internationally, with countless variations and interpretations. While the traditional recipe remains popular, chefs and home cooks alike have experimented with new ingredients and cooking methods, creating modern twists on the classic dish. In Sweden, meatballs are often associated with special occasions, particularly Christmas, when they are served as part of the traditional holiday meal, or julbord. The Swedish julbord is a festive feast featuring a wide array of dishes, including herring, ham, potatoes, and various pickled foods. Meatballs are often a centerpiece of the julbord, and their presence on the holiday table has helped cement their status as a symbol of Swedish culinary heritage. Swedish meatballs have also become a part of global cuisine, with variations appearing in different countries. In the United States, for example, Swedish meatballs have become a popular dish at potlucks, family gatherings, and holiday parties, often served with a slightly sweet and tangy sauce made from grape jelly and chili sauce. This American adaptation reflects the way in which the dish has been embraced and modified by different cultures. Swedish meatballs are more than just a dish, they are a cultural icon that represents Swedish hospitality, tradition, and ingenuity. They are a testament to how food can evolve and adapt through cultural exchanges and changing times. The enduring popularity of Swedish meatballs, from royal courts to global retail chains, speaks to their universal appeal and the way they have become a cherished part of both Swedish and global cuisine. In Sweden, meatballs are often seen as comfort food, evoking feelings of nostalgia and warmth. They are a dish many Swedes associate with childhood, family gatherings, and special occasions. Internationally, Swedish meatballs have come to symbolize Sweden itself, serving as a culinary ambassador for the country. Their global popularity has helped raise awareness of Swedish cuisine and culture, making Swedish meatballs one of the most recognizable and beloved dishes in the world. In conclusion, the history of Swedish meatballs is a fascinating blend of international influences and local traditions. From their Ottoman roots to their status as a global culinary icon, Swedish meatballs have traveled far and wide, bringing a taste of Sweden to kitchens around the world. Their enduring popularity and cultural significance make them not only a beloved dish, but also a symbol of the rich and diverse history of Swedish cuisine.